Hello everyone and welcome to part B of animation, and we will continue from where we stopped in the last class. So in this class we will move to dope sheet. Now what is the dope sheet? Basically, like the curve editor, the dope sheet works on the frames but not on the curves. Okay, only difference is that curves editor will give you the curves and the keyframe as well, but in the dope sheets you will only work on the keyframes blocks or the dopes of the keyframes. Okay, so we do have like an animation here. So if I will play this animation, you can see that there is a aeroplane moving around and then it's animating just like this. Okay, so let me select the aeroplane, move back to frame 1, and I will go to the windows here, animation editor, and here I have a dope sheet. Now the good thing about the dope sheet is that you can quickly move to the curve editor. So here you have the curve editor option. So you can open the this and you will quickly move from here, and then from here you can go back to the dope sheet by clicking on the dope sheet button. So a nice way to do that. Now dope sheet is quite different than the curve editor. So you can see here you have your keyframes here, okay, and then you have your layers here that you can see also in the outline. Now to move around here, basically it will give you these keyframes. Okay, so you have to click on this button this like collapse like icon. As soon you will do that, it will give you your again this one. Okay, from here as well you can press this, and here you can see that you have different kind of like visibility here. Okay, you have translate. You can, if you press on the translate, you can see all the translation. The button will be like selected. If you press this, you can see translate X, Y, and Z. Okay, so how this works basically. Now to move around, you need to use your middle mouse button. Now to play this, you just have to simply go to your timeline, and you can play from your timeline, and you can see that it is playing over here in the dope sheet as well. Now, as I told you before, that whenever you have these keyframe on the timeline, these are not basically one keyframe. Maybe these are the keyframe for two different options. Like on my screen, if you will see that I have the, let me open both of them, translate and rotate. Now I have here animation happening on at frame 24. You can see that this black like a keyframe you will see is on the translate part. Okay, now translate basically is the main translate, which is X, Y, and Z, but we have to break it down, and we will see here an X on frame 24. I don't have anything, only in the beginning, not even in the end. Translate Y, I have it on the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. Translate Z is only in the beginning and the ending. So the keyframe here is basically holding translate Y. Okay, other than that, if you will go to scale, there is nothing in the scale, so we will ignore the scale. Now let's go to rotate. Rotate X, I don't have any rotation, only in the first frame. Z, Y, only in the first frame, no rotation. But if I will go to the rotate Z, here I have in the first also, in the middle one, which is frame 24, and in the end. So this means this keyframe is holding rotate Z keyframe and translate Y keyframe. Suppose I only want to move translate Y or rotate Z, but I cannot move it, because if I will shift, drag and select and try to move, notice that all of them are moving. Okay, which is not right, because I only want to move on like one of them. Suppose I only want to move rotate Z. So how to move it from here? From here you cannot move it. So either you have to use the graph editor or the dope sheet. So now I can simply go here, and then let me deselect everything, and then only select this one. Okay, rotate Z, this one, and using the middle mouse button I can move this. So as soon as I will move it, you will notice that translate Y is still there at frame 24, but rotate Z is moved. So when I moved it, you will see here there is another keyframe at frame 20. You can see here. So here it rotates, okay, and then it continues from here. So this is how you can move them. With the help of the dope sheet, you can do these kind of animations. So you have all these kind of keyframes here, very easy to move around. Then you have some like different options here. Okay, so you can select the keys, okay, by selecting them just like this. Okay, and then you can work around. Like suppose sometimes what happens, I don't want to work on this one or this one, so you can do some like selection like this. Okay, so in this way. Okay, and you can make the selection bigger or smaller. That's up to you. Okay, or you have one option here, move nearest picked key tool. Okay, so if I will select this one, so it will take the nearest tool, and then it will select all of them which are the nearest one. Okay, then you have here which is the insert key, so you can insert the keys and whatever tools you want to do about it. So this is how you have these options here. Now other options, frame all. Okay, it will show you all the keyframe which are active right now or which are selected right now. Okay, and you have then frame playback range. Then you have center the view, or the view about the current timeline, and other different kind of thing. And it can show you the hierarchy on and off. So it's up to you if you want to keep it on or if you want to keep it off. Okay, so auto load dope sheet on and off if you don't want to work on manually. Same of like these items you can find over here as well. You can copy, paste, remove. Okay, like suppose I want to copy this one or cut this one, for example. So I can do I can go to the edit, I can cut this one, and then I can simply go where I want, like suppose here. Then I can go to edit and then I can paste there. Now it is simply there. Okay, so this is how you can do that. And suppose it has pasted for all of them, and the one that you don't want, like suppose I don't want rotate Y or rotate X, I only want this, so I can select them and press delete button. So it's good to manipulate the keyframes. It's quite easier and very fast. In a very fast manner you can work in this one. Now, as you know, we can add keyframes and we can manipulate them in the graph editor or the dope sheet. So there is another kind of a keyframe which is known as the breakdown key. Okay, so let's see what is the breakdown key. Let's animate this one. I'll select this. Let me turn off the auto key, so I will do the manual animation. I will press S on my keyboard at frame 1. Then I will go to frame 90, and then I will move it forward. Okay, and then I will press again S on my keyboard, and then it will start animating. So this is how I will get the animation. Now I want to add another keyframe here, so I can press S, but I will not press S over here to make a normal keyframe. What I will do is that I will go to frame, my key option on the top, and then here I have set breakdown key. So when I press set breakdown key, you will notice that there is a key being made here which is of a green color. Okay, and here I can maybe move it up, and you can see that it goes here. Okay, well, I have to do one thing here. Let me, because I didn't move it before, so let me move it up, and then I will go to key and then set a breakdown key. So now it should be fine. Okay, so now you can see that, because you have to first move it, then you have to add the keyframe, otherwise it will not work because we are not in the auto key mode. So now what is this breakdown key? Why it is green? The reason is that this is a little bit different than the other keys. Okay, suppose if I will add one more key here, let me move it down somewhere here and press S on my keyboard. I have this a normal key. Okay, so what will happen is that if I will select press shift key on my keyboard, select this one, okay, and all these two, okay, because these two are the normal one, these two are not breakdown keys, these are the normal keyframe. Now if I have selected these two and if I start to move them, so notice what is happening to the breakdown key. The breakdown key is manipulating accordingly. It is calculating the value of its near keyframes, and according to that it's moving itself. So what it do is that it's like a key aware sort of like a keyframe. So it calculates the keys near to it, and then whatever the values are changed, it changes its own value accordingly. Okay. So if I squeeze it, it also squeezes, and if I move it, it also moves. Okay. So that's what it is doing. What if I move only this one? So there will be no change. Why? Because the nearest key is this one, and this is not a breakdown key, this is a normal key. So normal key will not move. So if the normal key is not moving, it will not allow the breakdown key to move. But if I will press shift key and select this and try to move this one, then you will see it is moving, because it will only move when it's the nearest key is moving. Okay. So suppose if I will press shift key and move this one, so here also you will notice that it is moving. And also this is independent. If I want to move only this one, I can move it wherever I want. Maybe I can move it here in between. And now if I will try to move it, you can see that it is still moving accordingly. So breakdown key is basically like a really good key, because when you're changing your main keyframes, it will automatically change. Okay, it's good when you are retiming or remapping your timings. So for that purpose, it's really good. So you can change your time range, you can make it slower, faster, more easier, okay, rather than like selecting the whole and then changing and then dragging. Okay, so breakdown key, whenever you think that you have to change a lot of like time options, timestamps, so you can use this one. Now let's see how we can attach any object to a path. So we have this scene. Let me a little bit orbit around so we can see the aeroplane from the top view. So you can see I have this aeroplane and I have a motion path here. This is basically a curve, an EP curve which I made. You can see in the outliner also. So this is it's a normal curve. So I want this aeroplane to fly like around this. I want to move over this. So how I need what I need to do is that I just have to select my aeroplane, okay, and then after that I have to select my path. So you can see that path is green color. That means path is the one which was selected in the end, because as you know, the sequence is very important when you're working in Maya. So what I need to do is that now I have to constrain this path to my aeroplane. So I have to go to the constraint option, and inside the constraint option I have to look for the option which is the motion paths, okay, and then I will go to the motion paths and I will choose the motion attached to motion path. But instead of doing that, what we can do is that we can select the setting just to see what we have here. Okay. Now first thing, we will see the time range. Now how long is the time, how long is the time range? It is from 1 to 120. Okay, so it's not talking about the whole animation, it's only talking about the time range. So it is from 1 to 120. So we will keep it as a time slider. Otherwise you can choose your own setting over here and you can set it up. Okay, I want my aeroplane to follow this, so it will follow it. The front axis right now is X. You can change it later on if it is wrong. So let's see how X is acting up. If X is not right, so we can change it from here. Okay, and rest of the other things I will keep it as it is, and I will press attach. Okay, and then everything fine. Now if I will move my slider, you can see that it's moving fine. But issue is that the direction is wrong. So what I need to do is that, first of all, I have to go in my outliner, select a curve here, then I can go to the attribute editor. Okay, then I have to go to the motion path. Now inside the motion path, I have here these options here. So my front axis right now is X. Okay, what if I press inverse front? So if I press inverse front, so it is pointing in this direction, which is not wrong, which is not right. Let me keep it. Let me keep it unchecked. Instead of front axis X, let's change it to Z. Now Z is fine. Okay, this is what I want. So I don't have to change these also. For suppose if it was facing backwards, so I can change this to inverse front, so it will be facing this. But everything is fine. I don't want to change anything here. Now follow is on. So if I will play my animation, you can see that it is quite following my like path very clearly, and you can see that it's starting from frame 1. It says 1 here, and 120 it ends over here. Okay, I can change this these values as well. Okay, so suppose if I will select here, okay, and then what I can do is that, let me stop this one. Okay, let me select this. Okay, so I will select this number 120, and if I will move it here somewhere, so if I will play my animation, it will play, but it will stop here. Okay, so this is how you can change it, but I don't want to change it. I want to keep it here. Now, other thing I have here is the bank. Now, what is the bank? Bank slightly offsets your object from the your path. So if I will press bank, so you will see that it is quite moving right now like this. So let me rotate in this direction so you can clearly see. The bank scale is 1 right now. Suppose if I will make it 10. Okay, so before it was 1. Now if I will make it 10, and also if I will change the limit to it. Okay, so you can see that it is banking. Can you see that how it's rotate? So this is how it is banking, which is too much, I guess. Okay, so let's go here, make it 1 again, 90. Okay, so this is what the bank do. It's kind of offsets with the rotation. Like, you know, if you're working in the, like, you know, if you want an animation like a jet is flying around and it's rotating, so that's what it actually do. Okay. Other than that, we have here like parametric length. So if I will turn on the parametric length, so wherever you will have curve, so it will act faster. Okay. So this is pretty much it. The very simple way to apply your animation. Okay. And with the motion path. So other thing you can do is that if you go to the channel box here, okay, and scroll down, you will see here a motion path option. If you click on the motion path, you will see that here we have U value. So if I click on the U value, you will see these keyframes here. So if you want to manipulate these keyframes, you can now manipulate them. You can delete, move around. Like suppose if I move this one, I can move it now, and you can see the animation is now more faster. Okay, because I moved it. So this is how you can change it. If you want to see the keyframes, you can just go to the channel box and you can find it in the motion path, the U value. Like basically the U values is the only value which is changing right now. So you can also add, or you can also manipulate. Now sometimes you want to visualize what kind of animation you have applied on your object, and it's quite a little difficult to see it with the keyframes or by looking at your object. Okay, so you need some option to do that. So Maya gives you an option of ghosting. Now what does the ghosting do? It shows you the desired number of frames before and after of each keyframe. So let's do one thing here. Let's take this aeroplane, make a keyframe here, move to frame forward. Okay, I will move it somewhere here. Press S. Okay, so now you can see there is an animation. Okay, so what I can do here is that to turn on the ghosting, I can go to the visualize option and I can go to the ghost selected. So I can choose first the ghost selected settings. So there are different kind of settings here. We have global settings, custom frames, if you want to see more frames or less frames, so you can use that, but I will keep it as it is, and it's quite explainable. You will understand like pretty much easily after this. So I will press the ghost. Now let me deselect everything. Now if you will see, there is a ghost of my animation around here. Let me zoom in so you can clearly see what is going on. You can see the actual aeroplane. Now what are these here and what are these here? Basically this shows how the frames are one step forward or 2-3 steps forward. So it is showing you the like upcoming frames, and this one is showing you the also like upcoming or like the one you have gone through. Okay, so this shows you the like keyframes back and like forth of the keyframe. So this is how you can like notice how this my animation will look like. It works really good when you're working on the character animation, so it can show you the poses. Okay, so the character animator will easily guess what was the pose before and what will be the pose afterwards. So how I can manipulate my current frame. So for that purpose, it is used quite a lot. So now, if you don't want to see that, you can select simply here, and then you can go back to the visualize mode and unghost selected or unghost all. So unghost all will not harm us, as we already don't have any other thing in the ghosting environment. Other thing is that, let's do one thing. Let me go here, frame 55. Okay, move it a bit up or down and press S on my keyboard. Okay, this one, let me close this. Okay, so let me zoom out so I can see the whole animation. Okay, so this is how my animation right now is. So one more thing we have here in the visualize is the trajectory. Now trajectory is a very helpful tool. It helps you a lot, and it's a tool that gives you quite handy options. So you can go to the visualize, okay, and then from here you can go to the trajectory. Now from where you can find the trajectory, the create editable motion trail. So as soon I will press this button, or if I'll go to the settings here, I can keep everything as it is. I will not change anything, and create motion trail. So as soon I will do that, you will see there is a curve already made on my screen. Now what is this curve? It is like a motion path. If you remember when we were working on a motion path, so we created our own motion path and we attached our aeroplane to that motion path. This is the same thing, but what it is doing is that it's taking our existing animation and creating a motion path out of that animation. Now if you will manipulate this motion path, it will manipulate your animation. So it's like a curve editor on your screen. So if I will go to forward, you can see that it is showing me a red line, which is showing the current animation which is playing. Okay, and I can easily go to any one of these curve points and I can move them around. I can move it down. So what will happen is that now the animation is changed. Okay, so easily I can move it in any direction I want. Like suppose if I move it here and move this to this direction. Okay, and let's see how the animation works. Now it will start working like this. Okay, and if I will go to the outliner, you will see that it will give me a motion trail handle over here, which you can edit from the attribute editor. So if you will go to the attribute editor, First of all, you will see the display, how it looks like, okay, and like other tools over here as well, and then motion trail tool, from where you want to start it and how you want to start it. So these kind of things, and then this is how it's pretty much you can change it. So not too much to change over here. Usually you keep it as it is. So you have a display setting. Usually you don't change the display setting. The main thing is you can always change from here. Okay. So this is how it will work. So if you will go to any of this current, any of the frame, okay, and then take your aeroplane, okay, and move your aeroplane up or down or wherever, and press S key to create a keyframe. It will also affect your motion path. So you can see it has affected my motion path also, and I have this keyframe here as well. So I can go here and I can change my aeroplane mode like this. Press S again, and I will have something kind of an animation like that. And if I will go at this part, maybe I will do some crazy animation. I will move it here, okay, and maybe pointing this direction, and press S on the keyframe, so you can see how the motion path is changed. So if I don't like this motion path, or I want to change it, I can click on this one and I can move it up or down, or any kind of thing you can do over here. You can make it smoother, or whatever you want to do any change over here. So let me quickly undo this, or let's do one thing. Press Shift key, make sure everything is selected here, and delete all these keyframes. Also delete the motion path here. So I have my aeroplane over here. So I have to select the aeroplane and delete these. So there is no animation on the aeroplane now. Now the third visualizing option we have here is the snapshot. Now what does the snapshot actually do? So I have to animate it again. So I have to press S over here, and then I have to go to any one of these frames, move it here, press S here, go to the middle, move it up, S here. So you can see I have this kind of animation. Okay, now let's go to frame 24. Then I will go to visualize, and in the visualize I have here create animation snapshot. Now inside the animation snapshot, what I can do is that I can click here, or I can just click on the settings so that I have settings. Now what it says is that what is your time time range, start end or time slider. So I will keep it start end. Okay, start from frame 1 till 10. Okay, because if you will do time slider, so it will use the whole time slider and the process will be very slow. So I don't want that. Maybe I want the starting of 20 and end time 30. Okay, and increment 1. So it will start from 20 here and it ends at 30 here. And between 20 and 30, it will create snapshots. Okay, now let's see what is the snapshot. So everything is done. Now I will press snapshot button, and as soon as I will press the snapshot button, it will take a little time. Okay. And then if I zoom in, you can see what actually happened here. If you will notice, the green is my original aeroplane and rest of them are the snapshots. So if I move my mouse slider here, so you can see that it's basically made the snapshot of the frames which I gave it, like from 20 to 30, each of the frame is now converted to a snapshot. So this is quite handy to tell you how it will be, or this tool can be used as a very flexible, like high-end, you can say duplicate tool, because if you will go to your outliner, you will see there is a snapshot group, and inside the snapshot group you can see there are all these options, okay, all these objects, okay. So these can act like a separate object. Like suppose this one I will select, so I have this here. So these are what? These are objects. These are not image or something like that. So these are duplicated objects actually. So Snapshot is a very good tool. You can do a very creative way for making like duplicated objects. Suppose you can make a round like a path animation and with a circle, and you can take snapshot. So the snapshot will create those spheres around that path, and it will look like a necklace. So you can make like so many things with the help of snapshot. So this is actually the end of part B, and we will move to some other animation tools in part C in the next class. So see you guys in the next class for the animation part C.